The 7 Keys. Maya's journey through the hidden laws. Maya had always felt like she was swimming against an invisible current. Her coffee shop was struggling. Her relationships felt strained, and every day seemed like a battle she was losing. She sat in her empty cafe one rainy Tuesday evening, wondering where it had all gone wrong. That's when Marcus walked in. He was an older man with kind eyes and an unhurried manner, the type who seemed to carry stillness with him like a cloak. He ordered a simple black coffee and sat by the window, pulling out an ancient-looking leather journal. "Rough day?" he asked, noticing Maya's slumped shoulders. She laughed bitterly. "Rough year. More like nothing seems to work anymore." Marcus nodded slowly. "May I share something with you? An old story my teacher once told me." Without waiting for an answer, he began. "The first key. Mentalism long ago. There was a teaching that said that all is mind. The universe is mental," Marcus explained. "Imagine reality itself is like a vast dream in the mind of something infinite. In your personal reality, it's shaped by your own mind." Maya frowned. "That sounds like wishful thinking." "Does it?" Marcus gestured around the empty cafe. "Tell me, when you wake up each morning, what's the first thought in your head?" "Usually, ... Here we go again, another day of failure." "And so it is," Marcus said gently. "By changing his mental projections, a person makes their internal world compatible with how they want to live. Your mind is broadcasting a frequency, and reality is responding. Every thought is a seed. What you've been planting is struggle, so struggle grows." He told her about a painter named Gerald who couldn't sell his art. Instead of continuing to visualize failure, Gerald spent time each day mentally experiencing success, feeling the joy of people admiring his work, seeing his paintings in galleries, earning recognition. Wheaton-Mont's opportunities began appearing that had always been there but invisible to him before. "Your cafe isn't failing because the world is against you," Marcus said. "It's failing because you've decided it is. Change that decision in your mind first, and watch what happens." The second key. Correspondence. The next evening, Marcus returned. Maya had tried his advice, spending the morning imagining her cafe bustling with happy customers instead of drowning in worry. It felt silly, but something had shifted. She'd smiled at 3 people that day, something she hadn't done in weeks. "As above, so below," Marcus quoted mysteriously. "This is the principle of correspondence. The patterns that exist in the vast cosmos also exist within you. The same laws that govern the stars govern your relationships, your business, your inner world." He drew concentric circles and spilled sugar on the table. "See these? Your inner world creates your outer world. If there's chaos within you, fear, resentment, self-doubt, there will be chaos around you. If you want your business to thrive, first, create that thriving feeling inside yourself." Maya thought about how she'd been treating herself, skipping meals, criticizing every decision, never resting. No wonder her cafe felt depleting. It was mirroring her inner landscape. By cultivating the worldview he wants to see externally, a person uses correspondence in their favor. Marcus explained that when you honor yourself, others honor you. When you find peace within, peaceful situations manifest around you. The microcosm reflects the macrocosm. Always start treating yourself like a valued customer, Marcus suggested, and watch how your real customers respond. The third key. Vibration. A week later, Maya noticed something. The cafe felt different, even though nothing physical had changed. She'd been listening to jazz instead of news in the mornings, and somehow the space felt warmer. Marcus arrived and smiled. "You're learning about vibration. Nothing rests. Everything moves. Everything vibrates. The principle of vibration shatters the illusion of inertia." He explained that even solid-looking things are vibrating patterns of energy. Every thought, emotion, and physical object operates at a specific frequency. Depression vibrates at one frequency, he said. Joy at another. Fear versus confidence. Scarcity versus abundance. You can be on the frequency of worry and receive the things that exist on the frequency of peace. He told her about a woman who changed her life by changing what she exposed herself to trading complaint-filled lunch breaks for walks in nature, swapping doom scrolling for reading inspiring books. Her vibration shifted, and suddenly she was attracting different opportunities, different people. What you surround yourself with, you become, Marcus said. Choose your vibration consciously. The fourth key. Polarity. 2 weeks in, Maya hit a setback. A regular customer left a harsh review online. She felt crushed, like all her progress had been for nothing. Marcus listened patiently. This brings us to polarity. Everything has two poles. Everything has its pair of opposites. He held up his hands like a scale. Heat and cold aren't separate things there. Different degrees of the same thing. Love and hate, confidence and fear, there on the same spectrum. Here's the secret. You can transform one quality into another by sliding along that spectrum. That negative review hurt because you swung fully into the pain pole, he explained. But pain and growth exist on the same line. The question isn't whether painful things will happen, they will. The question is, which end of the pole will you consciously move toward? He taught her a technique. When something negative happens, immediately ask, what's the growth opportunity here? That harsh review showed Maya her menu descriptions were unclear. She fixed them. 3 new customers mentioned how helpful the new descriptions were. Same event, Marcus said. Different pole. You chose growth over That's mastery. The 5th key. Rhythm. A month passed. The cafe was busier, but Maya felt exhausted. I don't understand, she told Marcus. Things are better, but I feel worse. Marcus smiled knowingly. Everything flows in and out. Everything has its tides. This is rhythm. Just as the moon waxes and wanes, as seasons change, as tides rise and fall, so too does your energy, your emotions, your success. He explained that many people panic during the downswing, thinking they've failed, but the pendulum must swing. After expansion comes contraction. After effort comes rest. After summer comes winter. The rhythm principle teaches that whatever happens will eventually fall back into balance as the pendulum swings. The masters don't try to stop the pendulum, Marcus said. They learn to rise above it, to observe it without being controlled by it. When energy is low, they rest and prepare. When it's high, they act. They work with the rhythm instead of against it. Maya started honoring her natural rhythms, closing the cafe 1 day a week, taking genuine breaks. Paradoxically, business improved because she stopped forcing things during her low energy times and maximized her high energy periods. The 6th key. Cause and effect. 3 months in, Maya's cafe was thriving. New customers were telling friends. Revenue had doubled, but Maya noticed something. Several people who de-supported her early on were now struggling with their own businesses. Every action has a reaction, Marcus explained. This is cause and effect. Nothing happens by chance. Every choice you make sends ripples through reality. He described it like dominoes. The person you are kind to may help someone else tomorrow. The customer you shortchange today may cost you 10 future customers through word of mouth. You are constantly creating causes. Effects are inevitable. But here's where people get it wrong, he continued. They focus on effects, wanting more money, better relationships, success. But you can't directly control effects. You can only control causes. Plant the right seeds, tend them properly, and harvest is guaranteed. Maya realized she'd been thinking transactionally. If I smile at customers, they'll buy more. But Marcus taught her to act from genuine care without attachment to outcome. By taking responsibility for actions and making conscious decisions, a person creates the life they want. Be the cause you want to see, he said. The effects will follow. The 7th key. Gentle. 6 months after their first meeting, Maya's life had transformed. The cafe was successful. She felt peaceful. She'd started dating again. But she felt something was still incomplete. Marcus smiled. You're ready for the final key. Chenda. Everything has masculine and feminine principles. He clarified these weren't about biological sex, but about energetic qualities. Masculine energy is action, logic, structure, doing. Feminine energy is intuition, receptivity, creativity, being. Most people overdevelop one and neglect the other. Maya recognized herself all action, all pushing, no allowing. True creation requires both, Marcus explained. The masculine provides the structure and takes action. The feminine receives inspiration and nurtures growth. A successful business needs strategic planning and intuitive adaptation. A fulfilled person needs both achievement and rest. By bringing these principles into daily life, people unlock their inner gifts. Logic mingles with empathy to create wisdom. Maya began balancing her energies. She made business decisions with both spreadsheets and gut feelings. She worked hard, but also allowed herself to simply receive compliments, help, opportunities that appeared without her forcing them. The master's farewell a year after their first meeting, Marcus came in one final time. The cafe was full of laughter, warm light, and the rich smell of fresh pastries. "You don't need me anymore," he said with pride. "Wait," Maya said. "Why did you help me? Who are you really?" Marcus pulled out his leather journal and showed her the first page. 7 principles were listed, each one she'd learned. Just someone who learned these truths and promised to pass them on. "Now it's your turn." He stood to leave, then paused. "Remember, Maya, these aren't just philosophical ideas. They're laws, as real as gravity. The universe is mentally created, deeply interconnected, and governed by consistent principles, ones we can learn to work with. Everything is mind. As within, so without. All things vibrate. Opposites are degrees. Everything flows in rhythm. Every cause has an effect. Creation requires both energies. These 7 keys unlock every door, Marcus said. The question is, will you keep using them, and will you teach others? As he walked out into the evening, Maya looked around her thriving cafe, feeling the truth of his words in every cell of her being. She'd changed her mind, and her world had followed. The 7 keys weren't magic. They were simply the way reality worked, and she'd learned to work with them instead of against them. These 7 hermetic principles that transformed Maya's life, her real teachings from ancient hermetic philosophy, particularly from a text called the Kybalion. While they sound mystical, many people today find them remarkably practical for understanding psychology, building better habits, managing energy, and creating positive change. Whether you see them as spiritual truths or useful mental models, these principles offer a framework for navigating life with more awareness, intention, and wisdom.